Good morning. Rise and shine, my friends. Today's Thursday, June 13th, and this is Wake Up with KERA News. I'm Katherine Hobbs. Thank you so much for starting your morning with me. Today's highs are hitting a scorching 94 degrees, but we will have mostly sun with just a few clouds. Did y'all ever do that project in elementary school where you raised butterflies from caterpillars and then released them? We did it one singular time in my elementary school, and then I, unsurprisingly, made it my life's mission to be a butterfly mama every year. My classmates were mostly good sports while listening to me info dump, but I had approximately zero chill, so I could get a little bit intense. Again, unsurprising to anyone who knows me. Anyway, I'm so excited about a new exhibit that opened in McKinney that will let me relive my childhood and, let's be real, current love for insects. More on that in just a moment, but first, let's get you the headlines you need to start your day. The Dallas City Council has approved almost $740,000 in settlements because of accidents involving city employees. In 6 separate cases, juries found that city employees were at fault for car collisions while driving city vehicles. And in one case, the Dallas fire rescue truck hit a motorist, causing what court documents called life-changing injuries. Now, Paul Ridley represents Council District 14, and he says he's concerned about the number and the size of some of these cases. He went on to call for the city manager to review and potentially revise the city's policies and procedures. Despite some opposition, the Dallas City Council has voted to approve a resolution condemning Texas's controversial immigration law, SB 4, during yesterday's meeting. The law, which is right now kind of in a legal limbo, would empower law enforcement agencies to detain anyone they believe to be in the country without proper documentation. The resolution was originally introduced by District 7 Council member Adam Basildoa, and he said that while he knows the city can't change state law, he wants to do what he can at the local level to, quote, make sure that the impact of the state law is at least understood. The resolution ended up passing with a vote of 11-3 last night, with one city council member absent. The Mexican economy is already responding negatively to President-elect Claudia Sheinbaum's stated policies. Houston Public Media's Andrew Schneider looks at what Sheinbaum's administration could mean for us here in Texas.
This week, Mexican President-elect Claudia Sheinbaum has been meeting with her outgoing predecessor, President Andrés Manuel López Obrador.
I will name my cabinet next week, and from then on, the formal transition process will begin.
Since Sheinbaum's election, the peso has slumped 10% to more than 18 pesos to the dollar, out of concern for what a Sheinbaum administration will mean for the country's economic and political stability.
I think reality is going to be much harsher to her than it was to Mr. López Obrador.
Tony Payan is director of the Center for the U.S. and Mexico at Rice University's Baker Institute.
Ms. Sheinbaum will have to understand that today the Mexican economy depends much more on the U.S. Than it did 6 years ago.
To put this in context, Payan says, 80 to 90% of Mexico's exports go to the U.S., which that weak peso will make cheaper. But it'll also make Mexico's imports from the U.S. more expensive, particularly Texas-produced natural gas.
We really rely on gas from the U.S.
Veronica Irastorza of FTI Consulting says Sheinbaum is determined to continue the nationalization of Mexican energy production. But
Mexico's natural gas production is maybe half of what it was in 2010. And it now serves just about a third of the demand, and the rest is gas from Texas mostly. So I don't think that Mexico can change that anytime soon.
Trade isn't the only way the Texas and Houston economies are linked with Mexico. President López Obrador reversed the energy reforms of his predecessor that allowed private investment in Mexico's oil and gas industry and its electricity grid. Tony Payan says both are suffering as a result.
The energy sector in Mexico is really a devastated landscape. Texas can certainly help a lot, but will Mexico allow itself to be helped by Texans and Texas investment? Who knows? It depends on which Claudia Sheinbaum really shows up to govern.
Specifically, he says, Claudia Sheinbaum is ideologically committed to the left, but she's also known for being a more disciplined leader focused on producing results. Sheinbaum also said she'll continue López Obrador's policies on migration, but that may not be enough to satisfy Governor Greg Abbott or Washington. Isabel Gil Everert, a professor at UNAM in Mexico City, says internal displacement linked to the country's drug war will mean more migrants crossing the Texas border.
What we're seeing is that these people might have started their internal displacement trajectory years ago and may have moved within Mexico many, many times. But as the country has become more unsafe, then it seems like for many the only option is to leave Mexico.
Rice University's Tony Payan agrees, adding economic instability will also drive migration. But he says Texas may benefit strongly from at least some of the new arrivals.
They're professionals, they're investors, they're middle-class Mexicans who really just can't be in Mexico. They find it very difficult to live there, and Texas can be an enormous beneficiary. So we have to think about the good side of immigration, too.
Payan says that to address all these issues, Sheinbaum will need to come to Austin herself to negotiate with Abbott, rather than leaving such talks to the governors of the 4 Mexican states bordering Texas. Sheinbaum is set to take office October 1st.
That was Houston Public Media's Andrew Schneider. Well, y'all, it is not looking great for the Mavs. They lost to the Celtics in Game 3 of the NBA Finals, 106-99. And at this point, they're at risk of being swept as they're now down 3 games in the best-of-7 series. Did y'all catch NASA's little blunder yesterday? It was actually quite scary. Audio sent out by NASA about an injured crew member aboard the International Space Station on Wednesday evening was apparently just training material, the ISS said. The Federal Space Agency was using the audio to simulate a crew member having decompression sickness, but it was mistakenly picked up on NASA's live stream and stirred up quite the commotion around the world. The blunder came just as astronauts Tracy C. Dyson and Matt Dominic are gearing up to perform a spacewalk. They'll leave the ISS today at 7 a.m. Central Time for about 6.5 hours, and they're doing a really cool mission. So first, they'll be removing a broken radio frequency box from an antenna on the space station, but they'll also be collecting microorganisms from the space station's surface to analyze how well they can survive and reproduce. If you also want to watch that mission live, because you know I do, it'll be live streamed on NASA's website and their YouTube channel. All right, back to those butterflies. Did you know that the Hurd Natural Science Museum and Wildlife Sanctuary in McKinney has reopened their butterfly garden? I am so excited. It hosts butterfly species native to Texas and gives visitors a close-up look at the creature's life stages from caterpillar all the way to butterfly. Guests can feed the butterflies and maybe, just maybe, even get a sneak peek of a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis. It's going to be very, very cool, and it runs through September, so be sure to check it out. For more going on across the region, you can visit kera.org/calendar. Thank you so much for starting your day with me today. I am really glad you take a few minutes to listen each morning. Be sure to subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA newsletter, also by yours truly at keranews.org, and give us a follow on Instagram and Threads at KERATX. I'm Katherine Hobbs. We'll chat again tomorrow.